What up, world?
Doc, we can't hear you. What happened to you?
Hey.
No.
Nope.
What up, world? World is. We're gonna let him work through those things. But what's up, world? In the interim, no, we can't hear you, Doc. We're gonna let you work that out. I'm gonna go ahead and handle that for you, though. All right. Welcome to another episode of No Clue, you all. The show that you know lets us all know to answer the question. When you think you got it figured out, you realize you have what? No clue.
Wow.
He had enough time to put that comment.
He had time to put in his own comment, but we couldn't hear him though. So, yeah, welcome back. Welcome back. It has been a couple of weeks since we have convened. You know, we're gonna do some things in the interim. We're gonna do some check-ins. So, y'all, how y'all doing? What's going on? How y'all been? How your mama now?
You know what? My mama's all right. I talked to her yesterday. She's all right.
Mm-hmm. You know, I haven't talked to mama today. I talked to my daddy though, and they married. So I'm sure if it was a problem,
we're not for the pool that I talked to one, so I talked to them both cards.
No.
We're not gonna do that.
They use it on us.
I know they do. So what's going on? How y'all people? How y'all feeling? It's been a couple of weeks. We haven't convened. Y'all
Boo.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
What up, fam? How y'all?
You see how God will mute you when you're trying to put your own self on blast, talking about we love you. You got muted because God don't like ugly.
Ooh. And he ain't fun of you either now. Hey, Terry, we miss you, sis. I will see you soon. Love, smooches, kisses. Mwah.
Yes.
Terry said hey to us, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I was having technical difficulties. I was working just fine until we went live, and then it just went out. Like, I don't know what happened.
It was working just fine until he had his own comment in the Facebook sphere.
Gonna hate. I was gonna ball. Roll was gonna roll. Well, are we doing check-ins?
Yeah, we just saying how you doing, how you peeping them, how you mama them. We was talking about how everybody mama's doing.
Mine's all right. She turned 65 on Saturday, so she fine.
Bless her.
I know. Just old.
My little sister turned 22 last week, and she wanted to go to a winery.
We miss you too, Terry. Hard.
So she wanted to go to some wine tasting, and Mom.
Oh, we miss you too.
My mom, obliged her. So bless her for that.
Uh-huh.
My mama turns 51 on Monday.
Oh, she's your mama don't look 51.
The mom was fine. We can agree to that.
Yes, we can agree to that, Bishop. I ain't said nothing, but you know.
My mama about to be 60.
What?
Your mama.
I don't know how they this old, y'all. We only 18, 20.
Right. Correction, 21. I need to buy some liquor.
We at least need okay.
Yeah.
We only 21 here.
And that's what we'll be doing tonight. Tonight will be drinks and conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Or cocktails and conversation.
And before y'all on live start fussing, this is definitely a virgin drink because everybody knows I'm expecting. So.
Not this.
Hey, Brandon.
Yeah, what up? Long time no
Hey.
see. Thanks for joining us.
We're doing check-in. So how we talked about everybody's mama, how everybody week was. How was y'all individual weeks? All 5 of us. We need to know.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Chevy has a baby. I didn't know how the baby.
I just caught it.
I was waiting for him to explain it just because
I was like
satisfaction of it.
So inform us, how was everybody's week and the baby?
Well, the 2 of us are great. We've had some ups and downs. Y'all know I do a lot still. I'm trying to balance being normal and being pregnant. That is so hard for me because I'm constantly on the go. So y'all's nephew has been kicking my butt basically and telling me to sit down. Arteria's been fussing at me. She sent me a text this morning. I feel like it was rude personally.
What did text message say?
She cussed at me.
From one mom to a future mom, sit your ass down somewhere.
That's exactly what she said.
So
I can sit your ass down somewhere.
Sit your ass down somewhere. And like
y'all don't understand. It's boring here.
So
girl, you better read a book.
Write a book.
Start knitting.
I read the Bible front to back, believe it or not. Not during this time.
Knit the baby a blanket.
See? She said, set your ass down.
Set your ass down. That's right,
exactly what she said.
I like that picture too, boo. You cute or whatever. DJ, how was your week? How is school? When is graduation? Since Brandon, congratulations on graduation. DJ, how is school? How's graduation?
Is going. We just coming to a close of this first year. Praise the Lord.
Come on.
Things are still going good. Still kicking ass. I'm ready for this to be over, though. God knows I am. But we still in there. We hanging in there. Outside of that, my week has been interesting. I got a good cry in on Sunday. Had a good meal. Did some traveling. But, it's what it is.
Lady Rakia, before you put the food in your mouth, because I saw she was going for it. She was going. I should have waited till she put it.
I really was. I was dipping. I was dipping, and I was about to eat it too. So wait, hold on. Before I answer the question. Gray was asked to be on here. Who's Gray?
What?
That's not Brittany, right? That's not Brittany.
That is Brittany.
Okay. I wasn't sure because I started saying, "Hey, are you joining us today?" So is Brittany joining us today?
She can join in.
She can tell it. Yeah.
Look
cool.
at
Hey, Brittany. I wasn't informed.
How did you even get the link?
Hey, there go my baby girl.
Oh, that's why. I'm on your iPad.
Oh.
Let me find out you didn't know you were using her device.
Oh, wow.
Let me tell you, she is on the
executive.
But I'm actually glad you're on here because what we talking about.
Right.
So we talked about Rakia's week. Let me tell you about my week.
I ain't even say my week yet.
Oh yeah, Rakia. I thought you were talking about. Go ahead, Rakia. What's your week?
School's almost over. That's all I can say about that. The countdown is on. All right.
I think it's every teacher in America. Like when school's getting ready to go back, they're like, "Yay, back to school! I'm gonna decorate my class." Then by the end of the year, we got 4 hours, 3 minutes, and 22 seconds. So y'all get the hell out.
This year has been something. I am tired. Like the thought of doing summer school gives me the heebie-jeebies. They asked, I said no. I ain't doing nothing else.
You said like that? No.
No. I'm not doing summer school. Like I'm not gonna burn myself out. So you'll see me at the end of May, and I'll catch y'all August.
I feel you.
That's my week.
Since you're on the show, how's your week going?
It's well.
How's your week?
My week is well. I had a really interesting week so far. I finished my master's yesterday evening, and thank you. And just kind of living in the moment. It hasn't quite hit me yet, So just trying to navigate through that and see what I want to do. Um, maybe sleep, play the game, just little things. But more than likely, when it comes to like career and stuff, it's just like, okay, what are we gonna do? Because there's so many
Well,
areas that need
Mama said you don't have
help.
a choice
So
but to go to church every Sunday now, by the way.
Well, let me see. Let's see. How does this sound to y'all? Dr. Brittany Hayes.
I
Doesn't that
said the
sound
same
good?
thing. I said the same thing.
I think we're gonna speak it into existence, and it shall be.
Come on,
Come
we can
on.
help each other with
did he
these
say? Did he
dissertations.
say? Did he say doctor?
Dr. Brittany. Yay, Jerry! He sent me. Y'all,
Yay!
Hey.
that's part of my week. So my week started off Sunday. Went to church, right? Went to church. When I say Jesus whooped my ass, and I can say that in church, when I say I was boo-hooing, I was boo-hooing. Like full-fledged boo-hooing. Water, and y'all, Brittany, Chevette, y'all been in church with me. Y'all know I'm a crybaby. This was like crybaby to the 10th degree. Like they just would not stop crying. Then I stopped and I was like, okay, I'm okay. No, I'm not. It went right back in. Laid me out.
Come on, breakthrough.
It was when I it was yeah. That started my week. Then Monday, I had some issues we're gonna talk about in Say What. Had some issues, and then in the middle of my frustration, my anger, Arteria sends me a video clip of my godson just jumping up and down, having fun, laughing, and I could do nothing but laugh. Like it made me laugh. Then she sent me his little chunky self walking, and it made my day. Like y'all, little things like that. I was like, God, I have no choice. I choose to believe. That's my thing, y'all. So if y'all hear me say, I choose to believe, baby, that sent me. When my my spiritual leader said that Sunday, when I tell you I was over the meadow, through the woods, like I could have swam across the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans and still have ran a marathon. Like y'all just had to be there. Like I just want to lay
You
in the
make
flow.
church look so good. I've been watching your page. I've been like, I need to come visit.
Girl, it is a totally mind-blowing experience. Like the whole yelling at you, none of that. You are
Shout out to my parents.
Baby.
Yes, Arteria Sunday was definitely weeping. You're right.
Baby, I mean, but I choose to believe. So
Come on.
this has been. Oh, before we get started on Say What, guys, like the post, share us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Arteria's not here. Chevette, do it for Arteria.
Christian Mingle.
Christian Mingle.
Right, you gotta put some umph in that.
Right.
I wasn't gonna even give it to him today.
Here, you gotta type it in for us just so it can pop up with your face, because that's Arteria's thing. Christian Mingle. Share, subscribe with us on Patreon. Subscribe on Patreon with us and everything. Like chime in the chat, talk to us. We talk to you. Let's have fun under the sun. Now it's time to get to my favorite topic. Say what? As I drink.
Say what?
All right. There it is. Christian Mingle. So tonight's Say What is we're gonna talk about some isms in the workplace. So let's start with sexism. All right. Do you females feel like in the workplace you've been discriminated
Pump the
against?
brakes, pull the reins. That was sexist.
Immediately.
Female what?
And we didn't get to the question.
I'm gonna get to the men
Wow.
as well.
No. Why you
No. But you said men. But first you said female. Female what?
Ladies.
Female ladies?
So see, that's the point. That's what I'm trying to get at. That was the ism. That was sexist. Sexism.
Okay. So let's talk about people.
No, you could have just called us women, like women, ladies, like you said, like female. Female is
Got you one better. Chevette, Rakia, Brittany, have you ever felt discriminated in the workplace because of your sexuality?
Of course.
It's found. Don't just say of course. Brittany, we must ask you, please keep your comments limited to a 30-second window and utilize words that the common American would know.
Not too much on my buddy, because we're gonna be getting it cracking on this conversation.
We got both of them
I'm
on
ready.
tonight.
I'm
This is not
excited.
Right. But go ahead, let's talk about it.
Yes, most definitely sexism We all know that, if you look at Black women, they are disproportionate, underpaid economically, so socioeconomics, everything, disproportionate in everything. So Black women get paid less than any woman, white women, Asian American women, and even Hispanic women.
What about
Um,
indigenous though?
so
Indigenous women though.
indigenous women as well. Indigenous women and Black women stand side by side when it comes to like maternal mortality, stand by side with economics, and actually they are a little bit lower than Black women because they're either not represented in data at all, which Black women aren't either, but they are less represented because they are always considered in like the other category, and sometimes either white Asian and white women are paired together because of looks. So it's just disproportionate. So does sexism exist? Of course it does. There's no bigger threat than being Black. There's no bigger threat than being a woman than being Black. So, and then add being educated, they don't want to hear that. They fear that. You know what I'm saying? It's always if I can it's implicit too. So sometimes they don't even know that they're doing it. It's just because it was consistently taught as well. Because like even in med schools, they were taught that if a Black woman comes in presenting pelvic pain, it's okay to diagnose them as having a STD than to actually, treat them. So if we get to sexism, we get to payment, glass ceilings, of course there is. It's still today,
Jabea,
despite
Jabea,
advancements.
Rakia, chime in. Or
I feel
y'all,
like my spouse is on here and she spoke for me. I feel like I should do like my mom and daddy.
We are one.
We won.
Well,
yeah.
well, for me, I work in a pretty woman dominated field for the most part, except for when you get into certain areas of like admin. So I don't feel it directly in the workplace. I'm sure if I were to pursue um, higher levels in my field, administrative positions, um, I would start to see that more. Um, but the sexism just kind of it affects me in the sense that because education, particularly with elementary education, is so heavily dominated by women as teachers, it's already considered as um, not as a profession or a career that is the same as other professions because we're so woman heavy.
Okay. DJ, have you ever felt discriminated because you are a man?
Absolutely. And because of the sector of work that I do, that's absolutely the case. I unfortunately work in social services, and that's mostly dominated white, female dominated industry. So, as a Black man and a young Black educated Black man, I'm definitely a threat to the norm of the systems and the processes of that thing. However, they try to use the gender card as the the orientation card as a factor to kind of be a buffer to be like, yeah, but he's gay, so it's okay. Well, no, it still does not change the fact that this is still a very white female dominated industry, and that people who are being promoted are particularly white women. Now, yes, we do see an upsurge of Black women in social services and them getting in higher degrees and higher advancements. However, not in the same rates as their white counterparts. It's just it doesn't happen. You don't see that same designation when you look at senior levels of management or senior leadership in that same capacity. And you definitely don't see them as Black men.
Okay. So unfortunately for me, I have never experienced sexism in the workplace because the fields that I'm in are mostly male dominated. And so with being male dominated, I will say I have been token in a lot of my positions. I'm the only African American in my position. You know what I mean? So in my previous position with a major corporation that was at a global headquarters, I was the only African American district manager in the company. So I knew I was token. When I looked at my counterparts, they are all Caucasian male, Caucasian female, or Hispanic female, so or Hispanic male. So I knew I was token. My current position, I am token in my BU, my business unit. I'm the only raisin in this loaf of bread, like a full
Yo,
loaf.
Come on, Loaf. Loaf of what
I
kind
wouldn't
of
even say I'm
bread?
a raisin. It's like I'm the lone roach.
You see me,
you're not
you see me being petty. What kind of bread?
Sourdough.
more like banana nut bread, not
And we finna
necessarily
get to
raisin.
why
It's
it's
not
Come on,
sourdough.
sourdough.
So let me
um,
ask you guys another one. So this isn't an ism, but
well,
I'm
wait
gonna
before you
make
go to the next question.
okay.
I was gonna say this. I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but y'all, my industry's church, so y'all know that I 100% have experienced that.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
because there's a lot of religious leaders that believe that women shouldn't even be in the pulpit. But yeah, just want
I
to throw
need
that
you
out
to
there.
come to Sanctuary St. Louis and meet a woman by the name of Mother Trout.
Trout.
When she gets done with you, you'll be like, I need you to go talk to every male in the yes. Moving on. So this isn't an ism, but I'm gonna make it an ism because I can make it an ism because I give myself the authority to.
Oh,
Homophobia ism in the workplace. Have you experienced it? And I'm gonna hold my peace and let y'all say first. Go first. Go ahead. Have you? Do you feel? Well, except for Rakia. Unfortunately, Rakia can't feel homophobiaism because Rakia is our ally. She loves us, right, Rakia?
Yes, I do not experience it, but I can witness it.
Talk about your witnesses scene.
Well, because I live in the South, Bible Belt.
Good.
Georgia is, I guess, technically purple, but that's only due to Atlanta. So it's 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 low key things. Just particularly like lately when we were talking about like the "Don't Say Gay" bill in Florida, and how do you approach sexual orientation with children, particularly in that young elementary school age, with complete disregard of the fact that most of us can talk about things in an age appropriate manner. There are ways to have these discussions in a way that is not confusing for those children, and still be appropriate for them to understand. so so I don't experience it directly. I can witness it. I can see how people approach things and talk about things as far as like interacting with, but mainly with children, and just things like that, and things we learn about people's families and things like that.
Chevy Brick D.
Again, my industry is the church.
Period.
Period.
That's one of those. Need I say more? And as to add on to Rakia, you're in the Bible Belt. You're in Georgia, which this November we will make it fully a blue state when we vote Stacey Abrams in. All right. Um, but yeah, Brittany, have you experienced homophobia-ism, a word I created, in your workplace?
Yes, you experience it like, and they try to be subtle with it or passive aggressive, or like kind of type of like attaboy or using boy or using like little similar words like feminine words or like all right man, and he'd be like okay,
Bro,
so what I'm saying, like all right bro, no, we good, I don't care what you like, what I'm saying. It's always something to try to make you comfortable but makes you uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I also experience it with other members of the LGBTQ family, because either they don't want to be around other people because they may be different, um like men who are more feminine, like other men who are like trade don't like that. So it's always like a rift, or like oh like they too gay, like it's the thing about being too too gay. So
There's
um
this like mid key misogyny when it comes to the LGBTQ.
yes,
Like mid key. I wouldn't have said. I wasn't
definitely
trying to
high
say
key.
low key. I wasn't trying to say low key. I
No,
was
it's
trying to
like
give y'all
high
some
key,
grace, but
like
It's
soprano
definitely
album.
high key.
It's like
yeah, it's
color
very
tour soprano, very
that should
high.
be a show talking about colorism within LGBTQ.
We
That's
did that.
a
Yo,
thing.
that needs to be a show.
That was last season.
misogyny in the LGBTQ though.
No, colorism in the
Oh,
LGBT.
colorism, yeah, but like I'm like
Yeah,
Yeah, but
because that's not
misogyny though in the LGBTQ. That's a
that
thing
would
That'll
too.
be
that'll be good one.
DJ. How about you?
Yes and no. So again, to the fact that I do live in the north. I live in Chicago, one of the most diverse cities in the country. So, gender, sexuality, and sexual fluidity is not an issue. Like, it's there. That's a part of most employment practices is to respect, people's gender identities, gender expressions, etc. Like, most places here, even in fact, require you to put your pronouns on individuals so that you can be respected as such. So, in that context, no. In the context of my current field, like I said, the sexual orientation component of my identity is what makes people feel safe. So, in this industry, no. But in other industries, like especially as I branch more out towards the mental health components or other things, then absolutely, people fear that, people don't understand that, they feel um, that in fact that could be something that is a disadvantage to my identity or my composition, or it could be something that could be perceived as a weakness because I identify as something outside of what is traditional and acceptable.
So I was just told, we like you're gay. Don't be as gay as him. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Gay is gay. And I agree with Brittany. I've seen the no fag, no fat, no femme, mask for mask. Like, come on, dude.
You're one of the good ones, Doc. That's what they're saying. You're one of the good ones, the
So
palatable ones.
can I, I was told, because some people like, you're too cute to be gay. So only ugly people are gay? Because I know a lot of ugly straight people. So that means they're gay. One thing I used to love to do is with my brother, when we go out, they're like, is your brother gay? I'm like, no, he's gay, I'm straight. And they're like, what? I'm like, no, you're gay, I'm straight. Just F up their mentality. But yeah, that's the only thing I've seen. I've seen people overexert, try to make you feel comfortable. Your kind are working. Who the hell is your kind? We don't discriminate, because someone was with me. I almost got myself in trouble. Almost got a phone call. At my company Christmas party, it was like, yeah, what was it? It's Jessica today. It was Jesse last year. I was like, how you just put somebody's business out there like that, laughing and joking? And I'm not gonna lie to you, he caught me completely off guard after 4 drinks. I was like, what the hell just happened here? But yeah. So last but not least, my favorite one. Y'all guess what it is? It's another ism.
Racism.
Racism in the workplace. Have you experienced racism in the work? Of course not you, Shavea. Of course not you, Rakia. Not in the church and in the school.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yes, I have.
Everybody got something.
I'm just thinking, like, we're in the 20s. Are we in the 22nd century yet? Or are we still in the 21st?
Still 21st.
Still in 21st, even though it's 2000. Anyway, moving on. In the 21st century,
I wish there were X's on our boxes right now, because at that moment I wanted to push the X on yours.
Like, hear me clearly when I say this, okay? A Caucasian male, about 60, 70 years old, came to the store, and he was like, what the hell is that man doing? Because we went up on cigarette prices. He said, what does cigarettes have to do with gasoline, have to do with Ukraine? I'm a Democrat, but bring back Trump. Because we knew he was an asshole. We knew he didn't like women. We knew he didn't like black people. But the asshole let you know he didn't like black people. The asshole let you know he didn't like women. So you knew what to expect from him. And the asshole told you he was an asshole. And the asshole gave you a lot of wet shit. But the one we got now, we don't know what the hell's going on. Gas, almost 3 kids. Cigarettes for 2 kids. I'm gonna have to put my wife up for it. She's up like a mama wife just to pay my damn taxes. I was like, he had us laughing. And he was like, hey, I can say it because they're white and I'm white. So I can say it. It's not racism. But that's honestly how I feel in the workplace. Like, again, I'm token. And I feel like a promotion is being blocked because I'm token. I feel like I'm being ridiculed and scrutinized to a degree of inked, because previously, I was, oh, you're great, you're wonderful, we want to adopt this, we're going to adopt this, we're going to adopt this. But then I got a promotion. It's like, well, now you're horrible at this. It's like, I can't even breathe right. And I was speaking to my partner, and I was like, this shift right here makes me want to cash out my stocks and my bonds, and I'm good for the next 3 or 4, 5 months. You know what I'm saying? Because your boy isn't stupid, But I'm in the Midwest. I expect this. No offense to my home state, love the state of Georgia, but I expect this in Georgia. I didn't expect this here.
That was your one mistake.
You know how many times I've been called a boy, and I had to hold my mule and let the Lord fight my battle because I was like, I can take this shirt off. Don't let the degree fool you. I will whoop your behind and preside over your funeral free of charge for your family.
You in rare form today, according to Billy.
Well, it's just because this really it pisses me off. I'm sorry. I dealt with this in a previous position I was in where I was told my boss was blocking my promotions and blocking my advancement on purpose. Like one of his coworkers told me, like he told us not to promote you. Like I would love to have you in my market, but he told me not. Like this is frustrating, and it makes me think about, not do. I have not written anything. Go and post it. It makes you want to just break off in somebody's behind and let them know I'm not the one to be played with. Like, play with your mama, not me. Try Jesus, not me, because I fight back. God, he's the God of a second chance, not me. And I thank God for my spiritual leader who anytime I'm ready to go off, he'll just say something, he'll post something that kind of gets me back in line. But y'all, that's why that was my statement. My statement really was about racism in the workplace, but I want to incorporate other things because I want to sound like I was just venting. But that, if you knew how pissed off I am right now, like I am heated, like boiling heated. Like I know low people in high places. I got crackheads on payroll. You give them $20, they will do whatever you need them to do. They just need to get their hit. I need to have a drink. Can you attend my church? I'm drinking apple juice. Sorry, guys. I had to get it off my chest. Thank you guys for letting me vent. I love you guys. Sure. She was like, God is really, he's on one. Like, and Raquel, like when I tell you, I do, my partner will tell you, I get phone calls at 6 o'clock on Sunday mornings, at 11:30 at night on a Saturday night. You know, and I answer like, hey, what's going on? I'm on my way. I get up and go. Like I am on call 24/7, 365. I work 7 days a week. I'm there when I need to be there. I'm one of the only people who actually get out and goes into the field because we're able to work from home. But I should go into my stores because my people need to see me. My people need to know I'm here for you. And my people have even told my boss, they was like, we've never seen our last manager. He never came in. We've seen Robert twice in a week. It's the most we've ever seen. Like, what the hell? And then the person you're bringing in, because I have a promotion, putting out that I received a promotion, the person who's replacing me is already like, yeah, you're too perky at work. The fuck? I'm supposed to come to work depressed and long. Oh, God. It's another day at work. No! The fudge! Mind you, this was like 11 o'clock in the morning. I was like, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody have a great day. You're too perky. The fuck?
11 o'clock in the morning.
Like, because
I feel like I just came back at the wrong time.
No, you came back at the right time.
Right. Perfect time. Amazing
like,
time.
Like, Ms. Hayes, let me explain something to you. What we went through at a company that should remain unnamed, it's like 10 times worse than that. It's like people smile in your face and then they tell you they're stabbing you in your back. And I'm the person who's going to confront you and be like, so, you know, if you got something to say, ain't nothing but space and opportunity. That's where I am. And I'm not saying that in an aggressive tone, but let me tell you what they had the unmitigated gauze to tell me, that when it comes to my work, I seem very assertive and passionate and domineering. You just called me an asshole. And you don't think I realize that?
True.
But because you said assertive, passionate, and domineering, I'm just supposed to say, oh, those are great terms. Yeah. No, you just called me an asshole. You seem very arrogant. I'm sorry, my confidence is too much for you to handle. Get some.
Too much sauce.
You know what? That made me just want to go ahead and just take this shirt off. Give me 1 second.
Let me tell you, I want to go across the bridge so bad. Y'all don't understand. I want to go across the bridge to Illinois.
Oh, let's try that again.
Girl, that was the fastest change I ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
That's like me when I see a bug on my head. I'm bucket naked.
Oh,
I thought about it. I'm like,
this is just mind blowing. Like it blows my mind. And I'm like, but what do I do wrong? Okay, I gotta move on because DJ's like, you cut into my showtime.
No, that ain't it at all. I just felt like we should get some other perspectives before we cut
Okay,
the
y'all go ahead.
commercials to move
I'm
into
gonna
the
drink.
tea. So go ahead, do you?
You will not do you. Do you, boo?
Oh,
See, people
poor
like
Billy.
Billy makes me do the right thing. People like Billy will say things like that. Remember, you are a man of God. You are a leader. You are a role model. And I'd be like, but I can be a man of God because Jesus made a whip and whooped behinds in
It's
the
the fact
temple.
that you repeat "man of God."
That part.
That's when you super say. You say God. You know,
Oh, wow.
and
Oh,
y'all
wow.
see I'm turning red because I'm serious about it. Like, Brittany, your turn, go.
Racism. Yes.
You went on a
I
rant. We
mean,
forgot.
right? Like I was just like, racism. Yes. I don't know. Just it's like I said. It's very bold. Racism comes in a lot of shapes and forms, but it's
Billy, you don't.
very right. It's impossible to follow up from that because
I
it's
know you
just
can, but you gotta when you do it, you gotta give that last boom.
Right.
We close it out.
like oh like okay, I was next on this. Like geez, yeah. It's subtle. It's bold. It's indiscriminate. It's personal. You experience it in I don't know. When I was doing my capstone, like I kept telling to them, you experiencing racial disparities. Like honestly, and it's woven. And like I told them when they asked me to do a root cause analysis for Black people, you never grow out of it. You never grow out of it.
Come on, Brittany.
It's
But,
from
but
birth.
for Brittany, for those of them who are not social service industry or social actually minded, explain to them what a root cause analysis is and why it's appropriate.
So a root cause analysis should be conducted in every community assessment to assess the community you wish or choose to serve. Pretty much, it gives you a diagram. If for those who don't like words, gives you a diagram of where the root cause began. So,
I'm
for
sorry,
instance,
but who don't like words? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, because some people won't
No,
read.
it
Like it's
does.
like some people won't read, and literally when we convey things to the community, we have to do it in a sixth grade level. So if your attention span is at a sixth grade level, you're more likely to look at diagrams and pictures compared to reading paragraphs.
Send me the
So
picture, y'all.
see what I'm
That
saying?
is
See what I'm saying?
100% true.
So a root cause analysis shows where the root cause starts. So say for instance, someone with mental health disabilities, you can start back all the way back and find that it initially started from the child being born through incest, and then that had dynamic powers, and then the
I
mother
got real deep
was
real
on
quick.
drug. Yeah, but
No,
that's true.
and that's
It's the truth,
but that's why I wanted her to dive into the significance of why she
right?
said root cause analysis and she brushed over it like, oh, okay, yeah. But it is a very significant tool in the work that we as social service providers and mental health providers do.
So just for
Because
the record, if you take the Six Sigma course, I'm Green Belt certified. I know what root cause analysis is as well, not just social service.
Ooh, ooh.
And I didn't say we were the only people. I said it is a significant factor in the work that those of us that are social service providers and mental health providers do.
Don't
I
get
just
See
want
how
to
y'all
put,
going out
language
tonight.
is inclusive and intentional?
I just want to put y'all out
health,
like
Because words mean
healthcare
things.
literacy.
Right,
Words have
words
power,
mean
guys.
things.
what she said. Words mean things. My feelings were hurt.
Oh, so
I just want to know what's in Doc's apple juice. I'm gonna be honest. So,
but yeah, that's pretty much, like I said, like it was a sad finding, but it's a true finding. So, Black people, you never grow out of it from when you're born to from your mother protecting you as a young boy from police brutality. That creates a mental process that you're going to carry on. So, or a mannerism or characteristic that you're going to have.
Oh,
That's
Brittany,
the
Brittany,
root cause.
Brittany, Brittany, I want you to hold on to that because that's going to be good
Okay.
for what we're talking about in a little bit. Hold
Okay.
on to that.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
let's go ahead and cut to a commercial break. After this commercial break, we'll be right back with our main topic.
Or something.
Get a PlayStation. Don't get an Xbox. I'm sorry.
Man, I'm still trying to get on the on the Nintendo Switch, but my kids keep hogging it.
I'm still playing the Ataris.
I'm still on my Sega Genesis.
Don't talk about Sega Genesis like that. If I could find a way to stream that.
You're the only person who
the
streams
Sega
Sega.
is actually on the
Stop,
Switch,
though. Sega emulators and all Sega games are sacred. So
No. Because if I could like just set up my camera just right, point it to the TV, y'all can see me play some Sega Genesis, play some old school Sonic.
Shout out to Ricky Z, our production company, and our production manager.
It's the slide back in for me.
Oh
If
my
you have a
goodness.
podcast idea or have a podcast, I highly recommend.
Ooh.
I highly recommend Ricky Z. She is the best producer you will ever have. Your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, your Christian Mingle will be popping. So get in touch with her. She also has you on Twitch. Ain't that a Twitch?
Oh, okay.
So definitely get in touch with Rakia. She's right here. If you want to reach out to her, send a message in the chat. Shoot an email at noclubtheshow@gmail.com. She will respond to your email. She's our PR. She's our one-stop shop. She's everything you need and more.
Yep.
All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna loop on in and reclaim my time, amen.
Ooh, amen.
So y'all, tonight we're gonna talk about the gender divide across history. And so I felt that this is appropriate and applicable because as we look at things, we know we started talking about these disparities early in the Say What. So it's a great transition into what we got going on. I don't know what he got going on, but we're gonna move forward. So have you all ever really noticed that when we look at the historical record and we look at accomplishments and we look about things, who do we see? Who's in the history books?
It's always
the men's.
It's always
like
white
men's no
supremacy. You know,
Correct.
white.
It's always a white man, right?
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do. We don't hear anything about the female historical account or their contributions. We don't hear anything about any other gender account or anything that is non-white male patriarchal, right? That is not the things that we're taught. It's not in the historical record. Well, I want to bring those things to life tonight, and I want to have conversation about the significance of those others, right? Because it's always the others that make a huge impact, and we don't know about it because we don't do the research, or we don't have the conversations, or we don't have the information at our fingertips. So, with that being said, I got a question for you all. So, we know that the white men are given credit for all these things. So, what does that say about everybody else? What did they do? What did the black women do? What did the gay men do? What did the lesbian women do? What did the transgender persons do? What did all of those people do throughout the course of history? Because they're not in the historical record.
They were they were just like a contribution to it, like substitutes of change. So it's kind of like saying like, well, I poured the drink, that's how the drink was made. But they just gave me the glass. So what their contribution was, either I'm not going to acknowledge that they gave me the glass because I poured it, but they were just substitutes. That's all. Or
That's
it
good,
or
Brittany.
it's
That's good, Brittany. Stay there because we're gonna get into some stuff like that. Stay there. Chevy, what you got?
I don't know. I feel like me and Doc should go dark and let you and Brittany take over the show. I don't like this.
Well, DJ, I feel that they were just statistics to the main people because just in the background, just filling in the background, they were just, I mean, for lack of a better term, they're just statistics.
So I asked that question because we know when I say we, I mean the people on this particular panel. Rakia, do you got something that you want to add before I go there?
No, I had to step away for a second, but go ahead, continue.
Okay. Yeah. So, when I say we, I mean the we on this panel. Like, we understand that there had to have been historical significance in the others. Yeah. But when you look at textbooks, when you look at curriculum, when you look at criteria, they are excluded from that narrative. And so we're taught this white patriarchal supremacist narrative about what history is, and particularly what that means for us, right? But what does that mean about the shaping of the narrative? That was a real question. I'm not being that wasn't rhetorical.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Can I go first? That way Brittany can give the other half.
Right.
So I think that means that we have a place. However, it's kind of like women in the Bible. If we give you a voice, then we give you power. So by sequestering your voice, I sequester your power.
Okay.
That's good. You just made me think. I actually agree with that.
Brittany, Rakia.
It's kind of like Miss Hayes, right? Miss Hayes is you and Miss Hayes are both very educational people, right? I consider myself educated, but when I talk to y'all too, sometimes I'm like, Google, what the hell are they talking about?
Alexa, explain.
Right. And so, but at the same time, so for me, if I'm on your campaign, I'll be one of those people who they're like, just sit down and be quiet because you don't use words that they use. So just sit back.
True.
Even though you made a great contribution, I'm the writing your speeches, but because you're delivering them, I just need to sit in the back.
We're gonna get on that too, because that's a very specific example of one of the major topics that we're gonna get on a little bit later.
Okay.
Rakia?
Repeat that main question again.
So I was saying that, our textbooks and our historical accounts, they exclude the narratives and the contributions of women or anything other than the white male patriarchal experience. Yeah. So what does that narrative say about our historical record?
The winners get the spoils. I mean, it's all controlled, it's all ran, it's all written, it's all described, and we've had to take a lot of time to unlearn a lot of that, dive deeper, and not only like learn it but share that information with others, because we only get little snippets of women contributions
Valid.
to the world, to the country, to society, and even smaller snippets, barely and oftentimes inaccurate descriptions of Black women contributions to our society today. So it's a lot of unlearning we've had to do. A lot of unlearning I've had to do.
Brittany, real quick.
So to keep
not
Robert,
just because I'm monitoring time, and so
Robert,
I know we got to move through some things.
I'm looking at Robert. So to make it quick, this history follows also what the Bible follows. The man is the head. Women should not be acknowledged. Women should not be in the pulpit, and everybody has stated that, but we don't see that. As much as they want to say keep church and state separate, they're one and the same, and they follow the same hierarchy. So men need to feel bronzed in chest or feel their masculinity in order to know that they did something. So like even if a woman has something to say, it says in the Bible she should whisper to her, like to tell her man, and then he speaks on their family's behalf. So in history, it follows the same. So if I'm the man and I'm standing forefront, I need to say something on the behalf of no matter what your contribution is. That's why it's always man, wife, children, or God, man, wife, children. If you remove God, it is always man.
You just gave us a whole word. That's good.
Good point. That was good. Great point. Hold on. I want to get to you, but I can't. Is it quick? No, it's not quick. It's quick. Make up your mind. No, yes.
It's
no.
quick.
Okay. Come on.
30 seconds. Start counting. Go. The reason why the Bible is that way, and they say women should be seen and not heard, is because back in the old days, when they was in the synagogue and the temples, they spoke a different language than the women understood. So that's why they say women shouldn't speak, because the women didn't understand what the priest was saying. I'm done.
Perceive.
Now, I like the spiritual show. It's
over
not supposed to be
perception, though.
So what I'm getting at, and what we all have been getting at, is what's the concept of gender history, right? And so gender history is just the fact of, number one, history that takes gender into account, right? And why is that significant? Because we know through every historical record, through every historical encounter, biblical, non-biblical, etc., people are always identified as either male or female. Gender is always taken into account when we look at the advances or contributions of things. Gender is always taken into account when we look at what people have done or what their significance is, particularly as we think about population and populative practices, women are considered the bearers, right? Child bearers. They are populous. They are the ones who bring in life. But when we look at the historical record about conquest, dynasties, etc., they're all male dominated. They're all male led. And when we look at deep to dive into that deeper, and we get those female historical records like Nefertiti, right? It's removed as if those things never happened. And so those of us that are analytical look at those records and we're like, okay, there's this huge sector of time that's missing. Something had to have happened. What is it that happened? And so we see these constant breaks in the historical record where when we dive deeper and get more information, where women or people who are other than anything that's heteronormative or hetero ideal have taken the lead. But those narratives are stricken from the record, right? Y'all with me? Y'all still with me?
Deal with you.
I'm with you.
So, what does that let us know about gender history, right? So, that lets us know that it's important to acknowledge the presence of gender in the historical record, and we can't get a full identity or a full understanding of what that is without acknowledging the gender in that record because it matters. It matters that women's historical records and contributions are removed from the historical record. It matters that all of these white patriarchal identities and theories have been pushed forth when we know, contrary to popular belief, Greek and Rome is not the cradle of civilization, but it's Africa. And we know now that they've stolen those texts, they've stolen the literature, they've stolen language, they've taken all those things, burned down those libraries and any remnant of anything, again, that wasn't white and patriarchal. And in that instance, some type of monodeity esque type of fashion when you add on those other isms, right? All of those things that were less than were stricken from the historical record. But in some ways, it all still boils back down to gender. Why is that? What do y'all think of that? So y'all talked about a lot of those high points, but why
I was gonna
specifically
say
gender?
why, because it's just how it's always been, and it's just like even when it comes to like the topic of racism, like I feel like a lot of times, even with religion, like we're taught things and we don't take the time to really do study things ourselves, or we don't really have the desire to want to know things for ourselves. So I feel like people just kind of go with the flow, in my opinion, because that really is, Brittany had a point, that is kind of really how it is in the church. So for me, my background was all mostly religious. That's all I knew. So I didn't even see an issue within, gender history until I got older. I didn't understand why it was even important.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my thinking. Yeah.
Okay, and particularly as women and people that identify as something non-heterosexual, how does that make y'all feel that our contributions, our records, our advances are stricken from the mainstream historical record?
I feel
It's
lied
upsetting.
to and bamboozled, and like there's so much that we should be able to celebrate about ourselves that we don't even know about
That
because
part we don't know about
we don't know about
it.
it. It's hidden or it's not considered as important than whatever has already been told for centuries now.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's my thought process on it, and also like this how a lot of it is dealing with you have there's a little bit of progress, but not enough to really shake the status quo
Mm.
in a lot of these instances. Um, that's what I'm feeling like there's certain people in history that were able to make progress, but not enough to really shake the status quo.
true.
Mm, so
Yes and no, and I'm gonna get to some of that in a little bit.
I agree. So with I mean, what we have out here today is it's a lot of mixtures. You have like Rakia said, progressive individuals. You have those still with slave mentality. You have those who have, if you think about mentality and attach PTSD to mentality, that's what you get for most black people when they look at our history. Some get upset, some like, well, that's in the past, or this should never happen again. They have a moment of aggression or a moment of clarity, but then when reality sets in, where racial disparities come in, sexism comes in, all the isms come in, then it's kind of like they revert back because it's more comfortable and it's too difficult. I'm already battling everybody else. I don't want to battle this too. Then you take into effect when you think about double consciences. You know what I'm saying? Double consciousness is a sense of looking at oneself through the eyes of others. So when you see somebody else fight, then you see yourself doing it, from the eyes of others. Doesn't mean you necessarily gonna do it, but you can stand behind that. So double consciousness is a thing, veil is a thing. So when you take all this mentality, the mentalities that's combined does not, it doesn't help the cause, but it does help the cause. It just depends on how it's geared and the lack of information, or the information that was taken from us, that was burned, that was stolen, that was put into white face instead of black face. White face, you try to mimic a white face that was never there. So you never fully gained the understanding of why it was the way it was. So to, like Rakia said, to desensitize from that and recreate or retrain your mind to be something that you don't know how to walk in. People think that I shouldn't stumble that much, but if you never knew how to walk in there, how you expect to walk through it unless you do it.
Great
So
point. Great points. Real quick, Doc Chevet, y'all got something before we tap in? Y'all like, no, 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 no. All right. So real quick, the reason I asked that is because I'm gonna give y'all 5 particular topics, and you tell me if you're aware of who or why this is significant. The first topic is the double helix. Y'all know what that is, right?
You're going to have to explain it to me.
So the the double the double helix is our DNA strands, right? We know that
right.
it's two convergent strands
Right.
simultaneously stranded by double proteins and things, because that is how what distinguishes us as human beings, particularly Homo sapiens. That is our distinguishing trait, right? We have
Science was
two
not my
strands
favorite
of
subject in
things,
school.
as opposed to RNA,
Me
which
either.
is a single strand of
Right.
biological matter, right? So why am I bringing that up, right? Because white men are credited with the discovery of the double helix, particularly Dr. James D. Watson and Francis H.C. Crick. I know y'all like, okay, whatever. However, they took that discovery from one of their students. Her name was Rosalind Franklin. She actually was the person who discovered it in microscopic imagery. They took the image, ran with it, and published the studies and the findings as their own.
And she was a chemist.
She
She was a
was.
chemist, and she was their student. She was doing lab research at Cambridge, King's College, sorry, in London in 1951 when she made the discovery. They were credited with the publishing and the findings in 1953.
Mm.
Okay.
So that's one instance. Second instance, nuclear fusion. Sounds familiar? Yeah.
The two words separately make sense to me. Yes.
Hmm. So this is essentially the basis of the atomic bomb, right? How
Hmm.
atoms can split and it compose and expound, right?
Right.
Ultimately, that's the foundation of nuclear fusion.
Okay.
Well, who's credited with that?
Einstein? Was it
Mm-mm.
Einstein?
Otto Hahn.
Who?
Otto Hahn.
Yes. Why is that significant though?
Because he was a man. Didn't when like his wife or sister or baby mama, somebody discovered it and he took it?
He was a man. Hmm.
Well,
And
that
Lise Meitner, who was his student, who again ultimately did all of the work. She was the lead physicist on the product and the projects in Germany at a German university. He was a research assistant. She actually was the person to discover that you can use the atom to be a destructive property. Again, her work was then credited and taken over by a white male,
Mm.
and he was given credit and accolades for the work that she discovered.
Mm.
The last thing I want to talk about is when we think about, well, and then I'll move on to some other particulars. But in this instance, I want to talk about specifically radio guidance systems. What do those do? Or have y'all heard of that? Do y'all familiar with what they do? So ultimately, radio guidance systems is what we know as the technology that ultimately controls how our missiles or bodies are formed, how they target, how they move, what they do, how they target those things, etc. Well, again, Heidi Lamar, who actually was an American actress at the time and during the silver screen age, the thing, she actually developed the system for what we now know to be those things that the Navy uses as torpedoes and weapon systems.
I think then she was in the news like I know she was like on PBS NewsHour like maybe in the last year. They mentioned her recently.
But more appropriately or more applicable for us, she developed what is the prototype for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth technology.
Bluetooth, yep. I know that from Women's History Month last month. She was a spotlight.
But again, masked by a white man and the white male industry.
Yep.
As we move forward from out that aspect of gender, at least in that sense, and move towards gender history through a non-traditional heteronormative lens, I want to bring to your all's attention or present to your attention Lucy Hicks Anderson. Do y'all know who she is, what she did, why she's significant?
Google.
Have y'all ever heard of her?
Lucy Hicks
She's a
Anderson.
socialite. She was a socialite from
I mean, I Googled her.
1886.
That's okay if you Googled her. It's important to Google her. But more importantly, she's a Black trans woman.
I was right.
Mm-hmm.
Lord, now that I look at this picture.
I was right, 1886.
Yes, and she was the first transgender pioneer for what we now know to be called marriage equality.
And even bigger, guess where she was born, though?
Go ahead and say it. It's okay.
In Kentucky.
It's okay, you can go ahead and say that. The other person that I'm going to highlight is Bayard Rustin. Are you all familiar with him and his work and his contribution?
Yep. Million Man March by Dr. Martin Luther King.
The who?
March on Washington. Sorry.
Thank you.
Not the Million Man.
To the March on Washington, he had already planned a march before that was canceled because the president signed the bill. So that march was canceled. Most people don't know that. And he wrote a lot of Martin Luther King speeches.
He did. And he orchestrated a lot of the things that he is given credit for as changing and actually did not do that. Again, speaking of Black trans women, Marsha P. Johnson.
Yes.
Known for Stonewall.
Yes, Stonewall, baby. I know Marsha.
Yes.
Case still not solved.
Not solved. And that's the part that I wanted to get at, that it still is up in the air. And it's
still not solved.
Definitely irresponsible that this is where we are still in this era. But, you know.
There's a whole I think it's a documentary on Netflix.
Yeah.
But about her, and particularly about her case and like her loved ones that are still with us, like they're still fighting and trying to figure out what happened.
And the last person that I'm going to introduce to you all, who is also a woman and a Black woman, but also a queer identified woman, is Polly Murray. Are you all familiar with her and her work?
About to Google right now.
So she did what we now know, what we believe, or what we know now in modern terms as the groundwork for what the civil rights movement and women's rights movements. She worked with Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Thurgood Marshall and heavily influenced a lot of their decisions in their dissertations, especially as it relates to the determinative decision in Brown versus Board of Education, Topeka, Kansas. She was very instrumental in creating those frameworks and those dialogues for what we now know to be those reformative practices that bring equality, like I said, through a civil rights lens and a women's rights lens.
So,
but again,
I'm sorry, for those of you that may be trying to Google, it's Pauli. Yeah, just so you can spell it correctly and get the right information.
But I brought these people to the forefront. But I brought them to the forefront because everybody that I brought to our attention, right, was through a gender or a sexual orientation or a sexually gender-based or gender identity lens, ostracized from the historical record, eliminated and alleviated. But all of their contributions are significant. We know the faces behind everything that they've done. We know the significance behind those things for every male figure that is accredited for what they've done.
Yeah.
But we don't know their work. We don't know who they are. We don't know their impact. So their legacies are lost.
Mm-hmm.
and they laid the foundation. But we honor and we uphold these people who, in most instances, stole their work, stole the documentation, gained notoriety, and never once,
Crazy.
unless they were being kind, and that was even in passing, acknowledged them in even mere footnotes that they took their work. In some instances, they will receive Nobel Peace Prizes, the highest, scientific realm that you could be afforded for something that you didn't even do.
Sad.
So I do all of that
It's
to
very
say,
sad.
I want for us as No Clue and our viewers and listeners of No Clue, I want us to be more proactive. I don't want us to continue to put forth a narrative that disenfranchises and continues to disenfranchise a particular group of people, and we're not having the information that's at our fingertips. Do the work, do the research, push through it, find out the facts about a lot of these lies that we have been told.
And I think that kind of brings a really important point with with understanding that a lot of these things are considered other have been around and doing the work not just for years but decades, centuries, even like they've been a part of our history and progress as a society for a long time. These aren't just it's you know how people back in my day we didn't have all this stuff. You
Yes,
did.
you did.
You did. Did you
And
know? Maybe not, but you
well,
did.
and I
Yeah.
mean they did, because even if you look at the Harlem Renaissance, which I didn't bring up in the notes, but it's a very important historical era in what we as Black people take pride in. This is when we really did what we did. A lot of those advancements, those creations, a lot of things that people quote and reference today came from queer persons.
Yeah.
And we're even finding out now through their narratives, their personal lives, their personal discoveries, that they were queer people.
Yep.
Now, the one thing I can relate to is a lot of that honestly really does happen within music as well. Um,
Yep.
like
Mhm.
it's actually really
Yeah.
bad. People do isolate and judge a group of people, and then, in a sense, use the same group. And I see that all the time.
So, with that being said, we're going to wrap it up for final thoughts. Y'all kick it off. And we'll come. Yes, thank you, Billy. But no, it is. And y'all know I'm the one that bring the real. I'm the one that's going to bring the stuff that's going to make us think. And I'm okay with that. That's my role.
We get
So,
educated every time.
Right.
final thoughts. Who want to start? 30 seconds, because we got to wrap up. Little buddy foo foo.
Right.
My final thoughts would just be: people, get educated, do the research. Don't just believe what you're told because you're told it by someone who you respect. Question everything. If someone tells you the sky is blue, do your research to verify that the sky is blue, even though it's not blue. But that's beyond the point.
Let me go look.
Do your research.
Well,
Question everything. You have,
Yeah.
and the famous words of Bishop Yvette Fonda, you have the Google. Use the Google and find you a reputable source. Wikipedia is not reputable. Okay? Okay? If that's one of your sources, you fail the class immediately.
In Wikipedia's defense, Wikipedia will have sources that you can go look at afterwards. You can at least check out the sources and verify those sources when you look at the Wikipedia. I'm just saying.
Use
when they're reputable,
When they're
right?
reputable, but at least you have the sources to get where they're using that information from to check if they're reputable. I'm just saying. But go ahead. I'm sorry. That's not
Chevy, what you got?
That's it.
This reminds me of my aunt when her name was Aunt Joy. My great aunt, she used to make me so upset. One of my punishments when I wasn't doing well in school or something, my mom would always send me with her. And every time I was with her, she'd always take me to like these big Black type of conventions. And I never understood. Like that's where I learned about the Sankofa bird, like all of that. She bought me my first piece of Black art, literally. And I don't know, it just reminded me of that. I feel like it's important that we get educated. I learned a lot from being at those conventions. So my final thought is, even for parents, to include your children in this. Let's change the narrative now. We have kids that we can start educating, even at home, and letting them know, like, hey, I want to show you something, because kids actually will sit and listen if you can kind of get on their level. But yeah, just share the information with them.
Go, Brittany.
Change hurts, but it doesn't last always. If everybody's heard, be the change you would like to see out there in the world. Okay. Nobody said when you was a baby, you had to fall a billion times just to learn how to walk. Okay. So just if you take this podcast to just learn something from it, whether you want to look at racial disparities, start to open your eyes when it comes to disparities that you may face that affect someone, maybe not even just you, but your parents, your kids, your friends. And sometimes be their foreperson, because sometimes people know what pain is and rather accept pain than to actually do change. Because see, pain is easier because you know what's coming. When you're actually looking forward, you don't know what's coming because you've never been there, as I stated before. So it's okay. And it's okay to ask for help, okay? Like, we don't always know it, we don't always have it. So even if you got to ask somebody that you don't want to ask, because when you let go of their hand, somebody else is going to tap you on your shoulder and say, "Hey, I need your help." And you need, and that way you're able to help, and you can tell them it's okay to ask.
All right, Brittany. Ricky.
Reading is fundamental. So is discernment. Um, but also when it comes to learning about history, go beyond your Texas public textbook and get into some more sources, because history is way more complex and it has more nuance than what we've been told all throughout our lives.
Man.
We're learning that now, that things that we've been told, things we haven't been told, are way more nuanced than we originally thought.
Yeah, and my final thought before we adjourn is that, the historical record is shaped by the victors of the spoils, right?
Yeah.
Whoever's on top, whoever the power dynamics, they shape the historical record. But it's interesting that it's called history, right? Emphasis on his story, right? His story. And to quote the prophetess RuPaul, where it's her story,
Come on.
right? Where it's her story, where it's her account of what happens in the historical record, in the historical narrative. Be always ask yourselves or question, what is the other perspective? Because there always has to be something else. It didn't just happen through this one mundane, microscopic, lens. People are not monoliths. We are not monolithic experience. We are not monolithic beings. So we cannot have a monolithic experience. There has to be something else outside of what we know. I urge you, I encourage you to look at those things, look over it, find out who it is, look at those things, ask questions, because I promise you, when things don't add up, it's because something is missing.
Yeah.
That's how I was able to find out all of those facts that we talked about this evening, because the narratives just didn't match up and something had to be missing.
You may need to go through those names like one more time, one more again before we
Oh,
get in.
but
Love it, Billy.
but
Love
you all can please, please, please don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to investigate. Again, history is written. It's written for us to look at. And look at those things that are not written, because that's really the context behind what we're missing. It's those things that are unwritten. That's when you find the truth. Doc, you up?
I
Well,
think we
God,
should play God is a Woman by Ariana Grande now.
God is not a man, and God is not a woman.
God
I
is
have
spirit, so that's
pets.
a whole
I
nother
have
conversation for another
God
day.
is spirit.
Why did I get y'all
All
started?
right, guys. Well, we thank you guys for joining us for another episode of No Clue. We enjoy talking to you guys, so talk to us at nocluetheshow@gmail.com. Join our Facebook group, join our Facebook chat group. We talk, we chat, we laugh, we joke, we key, we cool, we ka. Subscribe to us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon. I'm gonna say Patreon, Patreon, Twitch. Follow us on
TikTok.
Facebook, Twitter. Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. Tell your family, friends, loved ones, sister, mama, cousin, baby daddy, baby mama, uncle. Tell your cousin in prison he can watch the show too. We inspire him too. All right, and no clue, we don't judge because
I
when
mean,
we
they
think,
can. They got better internet than we do.
True.
because just like them, when they think we got life figured out, we realize we have what, y'all?
No.
Clue.
We'll see y'all next week in 2 weeks. Deuces.
Ew.